You can now get Womanies in separate volumes. Get volumes 1, 2, or 3 at your convenience. And get a $297 credit for each one of them toward Womanies Volume 4. Get all 3 volumes by Valentine's Day, and Volume 4 is free. Links in description.
A blue-collar worker on the Michaela Pink channel. Take a look at that name down there below. On the Michaela Pink channel is a man or a woman who works as a worker. That was just my general blanket, whatever. And there is a reason why I say I will never, ever marry a man who is of this persuasion.
Here we go, guys.
And
she just called blue collar a persuasion. This woman is as uneducated as the day is long. Dude, no wonder she's divorced. Jesus Christ.
First of all, when you have a man who is a blue-collar worker, these men work very, very hard for their jobs.
And white-collar men don't work very, very hard for their jobs? White-collar men don't work hard? White-collar men don't put in long hours? Gentlemen, what women like Michaela Pink fail to realize is that men who make good money work a lot of hours. Women always want it both ways. They want with the 6-figure bank check, but then they want the who's got all the time in the world. You can't have it both ways. If you got a guy who has the time to be around you all the time, chances are probably not making that much money. If you have a guy who's making 6 figures, probably not going to be around that much. Because he's too busy making 6 figures. I get a lot of guys asking me, Donovan, how can I become my own boss? Or Donovan, how can I start my own business? Or how can I do what you do so I can kick back and relax and not work a regular 40-hour week like you do? Is that even possible these days, they ask? And my answer always starts with, well, of course it's possible. And it takes a lot of work to get there, but when you work for yourself, you can kiss that 40-hour week goodbye for at least the next decade and a half. Because it takes years to get to this point where you're making enough passive income to work less than 40 hours a week. Guys, I love what I do. But trust me when I tell you I work my ass off. Gentlemen, I put in between 70 and 80 hours a week, and that's probably a conservative number. I'm not even close to exaggerating. Ask Devin. She's all the time telling me, you gotta relax. You can't be working all the time. You're gonna die of a heart attack. You're gonna have a coronary. When I worked for someone else, all I had to do was show up and do my job. But now that I work for myself, I gotta show up. I gotta do my job. I gotta buy my own health insurance. I gotta deduct my own taxes and so forth. Well, gentlemen, I am also the content creator. I'm the production manager. I'm the producer, the director, the sound guy, the audio guy, the writer, the camera guy, and until recently, the graphics guy too. Make no mistake, guys, I love what I do, but it is hard work. So now you're asking, well, what does that have to do with white collar versus blue collar, Donovan? Well, the answer is simple. Women have zero clue that men who make good money work a lot of hours. They see a lot of high earners driving nice cars and living in these big houses and all the rest of that. But what they don't see is him getting up at 4 a.m. to get to the office by 5 to get a jump on his competition and staying until 7 to make sure he stays at the top of his profession. That guy puts in 80 hours a week minimum. And that includes weekends most of the time. Women only think men like this don't work hard because they never see him working hard, nor are they interested in seeing him work hard. You see, the reason females assume that the dude driving around in the Benz has all kinds of time on his hands is because women expect to get something for nothing. They expect to get the product without paying the price. This is why women all the time wish to be thin, but they're not interested in hitting the gym and watching their diet. And why should they think any differently? They get attention for doing nothing but existing. They get relationship offers from men without paying the price. Women in America, gentlemen, live the best lives of any class of human on the planet, and they do literally nothing to deserve it. On this assumption, they think men who have a lot of money must also have a lot of time, which we all know to be 100% false. So when she says blue collar men work hard for their money, she's telling us that she is misguided about how hard white collar men work. I say this all the time, guys. If you want to be wealthy, you're going to have to make sacrifices. One sacrifice, not the least of which is a man's most valuable commodity, which is time. I'm 42 years old. Time is a lot more valuable to me now than it ever was when I was 24. Now, later on, maybe in his 50s and 60s, he'll have time to relax and enjoy life a little bit, but only if he's put in the hours and the work in his 20s, 30s, and 40s, and maybe partially even his 50s. But if you want to make a lot of money, you've got to sacrifice your time. You've got to sacrifice your sleep. You've got to sacrifice your health. You have to sacrifice your relationships. If she thinks a white-collar guy is going to be there for all the PTA meetings and baseball games, she's in for a rude awakening. White-collar husbands spend even less time with their families than blue-collar husbands do. I'll give an example. Tony Dungy and Andy Reid, who are both Hall of Fame head coaches in the NFL, have had both sons commit. They both have sons who have committed themselves. Their souls are crushed by the fact that they probably could have prevented their sons had they just been around more. But NFL head coaches work 100 hours a week, guys. They sleep in their offices. That's what it takes to be a good NFL head coach. James Dungy and Garrett Reid might still be with us if Tony and Andy were around more. But guess what? That's the price you pay for success. A white-collar husband, boo, is exactly the same. He doesn't have time to be Captain Super Dad. He's too busy making money and ensuring that the family is financially stable, both now and in the future. Women believe that just because they get something for nothing all the time, that men must get it too. This is why Michaela Pink here thinks she wants a man who doesn't work hard for his money. Stupid.
They are subject to the boss, the man. They have to get permission to take breaks. They can't go to parent-teacher conferences and stuff. They can't
See, there she goes. They can't go to parent-teacher conferences. She thinks that blue-collar guys, and I see all of your super chats. I'm gonna shout you guys out shortly. She thinks all the white-collar husbands are just gonna be around all the time. No, sweetie. During the parent-teacher conference, your white-collar husband is at another board meeting trying to figure out how to raise the company's sales another 2.5% so he doesn't get ousted or voted off of the board. That's what it takes.
be available for things that involve life and living because they are so busy working. They work very hard for their money.
Unbelievable. There she goes again. Blue collar husbands work very hard for their money. White collar husbands work harder for their money. This is why they are where they are.
And back in 1924,
there we go. Another fucking history lesson.
Back in 1924, this was something that was praised, and everybody was in awe of the men who were working so hard to get their money. And when you're with a blue-collar worker, you have to drink out of stuff like this.
This is just so bougie. Unbelievable.
Vibing. Anybody ready for this vibe I got going on? Blue-collar workers are their mentality is very poor.
See? There it is, guys. It's not the color of the collar. It's the commas on the check. That's all this is, guys. This woman is a gold digger masquerading as a woman who only dates white-collar men.
And when I say poor, I mean poor as in not going to ever be wealthy.
There you go. Again, not about the color of the collar. It's about the commas on the check. She won't say it because she doesn't want to come off as a gold digger, but this is absolutely what she is.
People with a blue-collar mentality will not ever be wealthy. They don't understand prosperity. They don't understand abundance. They don't understand, going to Chuck E. Cheese and spending $500. You spend $500 at Chuck E. Cheese? Yeah. I spent $500 at Chuck E. Cheese.
And this is her problem right here. She is the one who has the poor mentality, not the guy who raises hell about spending $500 at Chuck E. Cheese. You see, Michaela, wealthy men are wealthy because they don't do dumb with their money, like spend $500 at Chuck E. Cheese. Wealthy men are men who understand the value of $1 and don't go make it rain at a shopping mall to let everyone know he's got money and to keep his woman happy. This woman has no idea what wealth is. The spending $500 at Chuck E. Cheese on. Take that $500 and hire a tutor for your kids so they can excel at school and get into a better school. Take that $500 and sign him up for baseball or jiu-jitsu or anything else that benefits him later in life rather than throwing $500 away on games and pizza and other useless shit he'll play with for 10 minutes before he gets bored. Michaela Pink, gentlemen, doesn't want a wealthy man. Oh no. She wants someone who looks wealthy. She wants a man who has more money in his pocket than in his bank account. She wants a man who flashes cash but doesn't have a pot to piss in. Because wealthy men don't stunt, gentlemen. Broke niggas stunt. Those are the dudes she's looking for. And those are the ones driving those used BMWs with a $900 car payment, living from check to check with an eviction notice on his door. That's the broke mentality.
Sure did.
Look how proud she is about the fact that she spent $500 at Chuck E. Cheese. What the is that?
I don't understand that there is more than enough of everything for everyone.
See, this is a that thinks that money grows on trees. This is her problem. This woman's probably never had to work for anything a day in her life. She got married to a blue-collar guy because he was ripped and hulking. He put 3 babies in her. And because he didn't make enough money for her to just be spending money all the time, now he's the one with the problem. She has a problem with the fact that her now ex-husband has a problem with her spending $500 at Chuck E. Cheese.
That's why I opened with the disclaimer that everything is not for everybody. I date and will marry only men who are wealthy.
Okay, all right. Now, before we all go in on this broad, because I know you guys are chomping at the bit, 1,500 people watching. 1,500 people watching the show. Before we go in on this broad, let's get one thing straight here. And I'm not being facetious here. I'm absolutely being honest here. Women have every right to be as selective as they want to be. If they only want to date dudes with washboard abs, then they are well within their rights to have that standard. If they only want to date guys who are wealthy, more power to them. Nobody's stopping them. Now, all of that said,